For thousands of years, the ancient Egyptians believed that death was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your judgment. Not a metaphor, not a symbol. A literal trial that would determine whether you lived forever or disappeared completely. And at the center of that trial was something unexpected. Not your deeds written in a book, not a god reading a scroll, but your own heart. The Egyptians believed that after death, your soul would enter the Duat, the realm between worlds. There, in a place called the Hall of Two Truths, you would face a moment that decided everything. This was the weighing of the heart. But to understand why this ritual mattered so deeply, we need to understand why the heart mattered at all. Today, we think of the brain as the center of thought and memory. The Egyptians did not. To them, the heart was the seat of intelligence, emotion, and morality. It was the core of who you were. It remembered your actions. It carried your truth. This is why, during mummification, the brain was removed, but the heart was left inside the body, because the heart would be needed later. It would testify. In the Hall of Two Truths, the jackal-headed god Anubis would guide the deceased forward. Before them stood a scale. On one side, the heart. On the other, the feather of Ma'at, the symbol of truth, order, and cosmic balance. Watching from his throne was Osiris, lord of the underworld. Surrounding the chamber were 42 divine assessors, each representing a specific moral principle. This was not chaos. It was order. The question was simple. Was your life in balance? If your heart weighed the same as the feather, you passed. You were declared true of voice. You were granted entry into the field of reeds, a perfected reflection of earthly life. But if your heart was heavier, burdened by wrongdoing, there was no appeal. Waiting beside the scales was a creature known as Ammit, part crocodile, part lion, part hippopotamus. She did not torture the guilty. She consumed them. If your heart failed the test, Ammit devoured it, and with it, your chance at eternity. This was called the second death, not punishment, erasure. You simply ceased to exist. Which raises a powerful question. If the stakes were this final, how did people prepare? Many were buried with spells from what we now call the Book of the Dead. These texts included what scholars call the negative confessions. Declarations like, I have not stolen, I have not lied, I have not caused suffering. These were not admissions of guilt. They were affirmations of alignment with Ma'at, the principle of balance and truth. Historians debate whether these were magical protections or moral statements. But what's clear is this. The Egyptians believed morality mattered beyond death. The weighing of the heart was not random. It was not arbitrary divine punishment. It was accountability. And that tells us something profound about this civilization. Ancient Egypt was not obsessed with death. It was obsessed with order, with balance, with harmony between action and consequence. The ritual was a reflection of their worldview, that the universe itself was structured around truth, and that every life would eventually be measured against it. Which leads to a deeper realization. The weighing of the heart wasn't just about the afterlife. It was about how to live. Because if your heart would one day be placed on a scale, then every action mattered. And this ritual was only one stage in a much larger journey through the Egyptian underworld. In the next chapter, we explore the Duat itself, the strange realm the soul had to navigate before reaching judgment, a place filled with gates, guardians, and hidden dangers. Because passing the scale was only possible if you survived the journey there. And that is where the real mystery begins.